Thanks. I thought just for a kickoff, and I said that we would do something on things that we were looking forward to when this COVID thing is over. But we kind of did that. But we did big things, and 95% of the things are little things. The senior center pancake breakfast on the third Saturday, or the parade, or going to coffee with somebody at Starbucks, or I actually sent my tab thing in to Whitfield instead of going in because I just was avoiding being in contact with other people. So there's so many little things, and I think it's important to name them, and to be aware of them, because they're the things that are the big disruptions. The big trip we had planned, it may get done later, but it's, a lot of thought goes into it, but it's not the daily loss. So anyway, so something that you're kind of really looking forward to, and it doesn't have to be big at all. I'd love to go back to a high school basketball game.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Joe. I can't see everybody, so would you?
You got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna do welcome and introductions. Thank you everybody for joining us. If actually, let me stop sharing. Tom, we've been doing icebreaker questions just to help.
Yeah, that was the icebreaker question. Yeah.
And the icebreaker question is, what do you
Some
miss?
small thing that that you're really looking for, that you're missing, that a daily thing or a week, just something small that is gone until things calm down.
Yep. So if you would, I'll call on you so that we have some order to this, and just introduce yourself, your organization, and what you miss. Let's start with Cindy Chessie. We're so glad you're here, Cindy.
Well, thank you, Joe. I'm happy to be here. So I'm Cindy Chessie from Sky Valley Food Bank, and this is so easy for me. I miss hugging. I am a hugger and I hate it. It's horrible. So I'll be happy when we can all hug again.
Great.
And Sherry Matthias.
I am Sherry Matthias. I'm one of the members of the coalition leadership group, as well as a parent of students in the district, and I'm also from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I could choose a lot of things, but one of the things that I'm looking forward to is having book group in person. We've been doing it via Zoom, but I miss having my group of friends in person, sharing snacks and all that fun stuff that we do during our normal book groups.
Thanks, Sherry. Jen from the YMCA.
Hi, I'm Jen with the YMCA. I'm the senior program director and mainly oversee the teen, childcare, and camp departments. Something I'm looking forward to is just the parents being able to come back into our program, and when they pick up or drop off their child, instead of just pulling up to the curb, calling and letting us know they're there, and us going out and doing all of that. But when they get to come in and see what's going on, it makes a bigger impact, I think.
Thank you. Amber Mehta.
I'm Amber Mehta, and I work for the Monroe School District. I'm the truancy outreach specialist. I have always really heavily volunteered at my son's school. When he was at Frank Wagner, he is at Park Place now. So although I miss seeing all the kids, I really, really miss being at Frank Wagner doing fun activities. The kids are so sweet. I just miss being on campus with children.
Thank you. Amy Hill, so glad your schedule allowed you to join us.
Hi, thank you. I'm Amy Hill. Can you hear me?
We got you.
Good. Okay. I am the opioid outreach specialist. I work for Snohomish County Human Services, and I'm glad to be here today. I would say I really miss meeting people for coffee and sitting in a coffee shop and just hanging out. I miss that a lot.
Great.
Thank you. And Amy will be our featured speaker next month. She's got a lot to share, and I want to make sure she gets the appropriate time for that. But Sarah Lundstrom, welcome.
Hey, I'm Sarah Lundstrom, and I pull families out of desperation and take the next step. Nonprofit Community Resource Center here in Monroe. And as everyone lists the things, I'm like, oh, that's mine. Oh no, that's really good too. I miss hugs and I miss our kids club kids for sure. I really miss them.
Rachel Adams, I'm so glad you're here.
Oh, thank you, Joe. I'm so glad to be here, seeing everybody's faces. Gosh, I miss coffee hour at church, just like a good old potluck.
And who are you?
Oh, I am the City of Monroe project management consultant, and my project is implementing the homeless policy advisory recommendations. So I'm doing some of the human services projects locally in Monroe.
Wonderful. And our friend from Snohomish Health District is here, Juliet.
Hello, I'm Juliet D'Alessandro. I am a healthy community specialist at the Health District. I work on a few different projects there. And I agree, there have been so many things mentioned that I'm like, I miss that, and that's the thing I miss. But one thing that is on my mind a lot is I miss just being able to like hang out with my sisters on the couch and like sit and watch HGTV and like eat snacks. We take a lot of walks, but it's not the same.
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, so glad you could join us.
Hi, I'm Nicole Hudson, and Carrie Boone invited me to join. I'm involved with her in the Just Serve committee at our church, and I'm excited to get to know you all and to serve with you and to support the great work that you're doing in this community. I'm a mother of 6 kids in the district, which is crazy. I'm really passionate about this community and kids, and I think one thing I really miss are team sports. I think there's so much value for our kids in team sports at our schools, and I just can't wait to get my kids back involved in the school sports.
Amen.
Thank you so much. Phil Spirito, welcome.
Hi, everybody. Phil Spirito, library manager in Monroe. I miss my family visiting. My family usually comes out and visits 2 or 3 times a year to help out on the farm, and they have missed 3 visits at this point. I'm hoping for summer. We'll see. But yeah, it's really hard. My family's none of them are near this coast at all, so it's really hard not seeing them. So hugs too, of course.
Stephanie, so glad you're here. I love your background.
Thank you. Yeah, in recognition of our cold week, it's kind of a snowy, non-Christmas themed background. So I'm Stephanie Phillips. I am the student assistance professional at Monroe High School. I work in prevention and intervention of substance abuse with our high school students. And I think I can relate pretty much almost exactly what Phil said. Hugs. And family. I miss, I've got a lot of family in Canada, and so I miss grandma, you know, borders closed. So waiting for that to open back up.
And for those who don't know, Stephanie's position is funded because of the coalition. If the coalition went away, we would lose that support at Monroe High School. So we're so grateful you're here. You're such an important part of what we bring to the community. Chuck Whitfield, thanks for joining us.
Well, I'm in the crazy world of the school business. Interesting times. I'm also the owner of the licensing agency here, and it's interesting seeing the sea of humanity, everybody with masks. I'm glad nobody wants to hold us up because we wouldn't know who they are. The thing I miss is meeting people and developing relationships like Joe and Tom and Cindy, going down through here. Sarah, Phil, Chief Jolly, Michael. sit down and have a cup of coffee and just talk what's going on and doing it on a personal level. And then you just get to know people and you get to relate, and that's what I miss. And I'm going to have lunch.
And I don't know which of the next two I'm going to call on has the better voice for narrating books, but I definitely want to hear Laren Olson narrate my next audiobook.
Wow, how you follow that one up, huh? I'm Laren with Next Step. I'd be happy to read for you anytime, Joe. And I'm Sarah Lundstrom's personal assistant. And I miss our granddaughters.
Thank you. And the other amazing voice. I think I'm going to put you guys to work, but Jim Bloss, so glad you're here.
That's very kind of you, Joe. Jim Bloss with National Alliance on Mental Illness out of the NAMI Snohomish County affiliate. And I want to take my wife out on a date for dinner and just sit and spend a little one-on-one time, just us.
Yes. Chief Jolly, so glad you could join us too. Welcome back.
Thank you, Joe. Hi, everybody. I'm Jeff Jolly. I'm the Chief of Police here in Monroe. And I think everybody's pretty much covered just the generalization that we miss human society and interaction and the normalcy that comes with it, the civility that comes with it. Laren hit it right on the head about grandkids. I got to the point where Alaska was offering a buy one, get one a couple days ago, and I'm heading to Salt Lake to go see my grandgirls. So regardless, I'm hopping on a plane if I have to wrap myself in bubble wrap or whatever that takes and wear 3 masks. I'm going to roll those dice because, yeah, I can't go another year. So I miss people.
Yep. How about our friend Kimberly Clem? How are you?
Hey everybody, it's Kimberly. I am the community care director at Cascade Church in town, and I actually became a grandma for the first time in December, so super excited. Nicole, I see your last name's Hudson and his name is Hudson, so super fun. Love my little guy and love being a grandma. A huge blessing in that was that my daughter had a home birth, and so I was actually able to watch that happen, where had she not, I wouldn't have even been able to see him for a couple days. So that was super fun and exciting. And now I'm a Nana, which is fun. I think the thing I am missing are smiles at the grocery store or out in public. And so I can't wait for a world without masks. And just seeing all your guys' faces here is fun to see, considering if I saw you out in public, we'd all have masks on. So I can't wait for that time and just appreciate all of you. Thank you.
Pastor Michael Hanford, welcome.
Well, I'm Pastor Michael. I'm coordinator for Monroe Pastors and police and fire chaplain, and a few other things. I'm part of the leadership team of this coalition. The hugs from my grandkids, I just miss them so much. We're a hugger family, and that's going to be great. Also, ride-alongs with the police I'm a chaplain with. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm so excited that we have a voice returning from last month, Nathan Duong from Monroe High School, part of the Monroe Inclusion Collective. Nathan, I'm so glad you're here.
I'm glad to be here too. Thanks for having me again. I really appreciate it. So yeah, like you said, my name is Nathan Duong. I'm on the leadership team of the Monroe Inclusion Collective, an independent youth organization. We work with various community leaders, community institutions.
What do you miss?
That's a great turnout, Joe.
Oh, we're not done yet. We still have Lindsay Gagnon on here.
I can't see everybody, so.
Hi, Joe. Thank you so much for the invite. Really great to be invited. And I'm glad my schedule could fit it in. So hoping to attend more of these. But my name's Lindsay Gagnon. I'm the executive director for Volunteers of America's Community Resource Centers. which include Lake Stevens, most recently Arlington, and out in Sultan at our Sky Valley Integrated Service Center. So for those that don't know what's out in Sultan on our campus, we have the Sultan Food Bank, Sky Valley Youth Coalition, Sky Valley Resource Center, Sky Valley Senior Center, Sky Valley ECAP, and we also get the honor of hosting the Sultan Boys and Girls Club. So really happy to be here. Thank you so much.
And then my friend from way back, Mr. Dennis Smith.
Hello, Joe. My name is Dennis Smith. I'm a retired school psychologist. Did you call my name?
Hey, Nathan.
We hear you.
Okay. Retired school psychologist and currently serving on the board of the Granite Falls Community Coalition and working with the Snohomish County Children's Wellness Coalition. Like most of you, I miss my grandkids an awful lot. I miss going to jazz concerts, and but I'm, adaptable. so I think that we'll get through this okay. I may have to leave a little bit early today, Joe. I have another commitment, so I'm happy to sit in as long as I can.
Well, I see where your priorities are. Okay. Well, I'm going to share my screen one more time here. We just have a few business updates I want to share with you, and then I'm going to turn it over to everybody else. Just to let you know what's happening. I've been audited twice this month by Washington State Healthcare Authority. They are our primary substance abuse prevention, and, mental health promotion, and suicide prevention grant funder. Almost all of those dollars go right into supporting students at the school district. But we also fund a variety of other programs and personnel as well that are only in the community because of the coalition. In terms of our actual evidence-based programs that we're supporting, PAC's Good Behavior Game has been suspended in the virtual environment. It really requires in-person attendance to work effectively. Second Step is implemented K through 5. This is a program that is now entirely supported by the school district, but started with seed money from the coalition. So the district traditionally implemented 4 lessons from the program. And with the coalition's guidance and support, expanded to full implementation, which means that all of our kids are actually getting the outcomes associated with the Second Step implementation. It's a K-5 vaccine, and it's going strong even in the virtual environment. Similarly, in middle school, all 6th through 8th graders receive Botman life skills training. We implemented the program with half of all middle school students at the beginning of the year. And now that we're heading into second semester, we will be reaching the other half of students. Our Sport Prevention Plus Wellness program is available. It's the world's only single session evidence-based program that shows pretty significant substance use reduction outcomes, including marijuana use reduction, but hasn't found success in the virtual world. So we still support this program. It's still available for those who need it, but with our substance abuse violation referrals going down, there's a smaller audience ready to receive Sport Prevention Plus Wellness. Our Signs of Suicide program has been implemented to all students 6th through 12th grade this year. Our Student Support Advocate, who is grant funded, is implementing a small group adaptation of the Sources of Strength program, primarily serving students of color. This is a small, tight-knit group that does continue to meet. The specific update for this program is that in order to implement with fidelity and use the funding that we've been awarded for it, we have to be in person. We have to do a whole day in-person youth and adult training. When we do these trainings, we typically have between 80 or 90 youth and adults, and that launches the program for the year. This year, we are unable to do the training because of our absence of students on campus. And so it's looking like the coalition will probably be returning about $14,500 that we received to implement this program with fidelity. We also implement the Coping and Support Training Program, a small group program just for students who are experiencing significant risk factors for suicidality. All of our counselors have been trained by the coalition in this model. This year, we funded one additional training for our counselor at Hidden River Middle School, Lily Schaefer. Lily and I are working on dates to begin implementing that program now. Of course, if you were able to join us over the past 2 weeks, you may have signed up for and watched Screenagers Next Chapter. Our license for Screenagers expired on February 5th, but we had more than 110 individuals register for that, and many have indicated that they watched with their entire families. So my guess is our audience this year was same as in previous years, between 300 and 400 people, and the message was so critical. But so I have a survey out to those who participated about the type of follow-up that they'd like to see. Once we have that survey closed, I'll report back to the coalition and we'll talk about how we can follow up on this conversation. Parenting Wisely, our evidence-based online parenting program, is available not just for our school district partners, but for everybody on this call. Parenting Wisely is an evidence-based program that's implemented online. So if you're at Take the Next Step, if you're at Cascade Church or any one of our partners, Volunteers of America, Western Washington, I will help you to sign up your parents or get your folks coached at no cost. Coalition will absorb that cost. I just have a few strings attached that look like a pre and post test. Of course, we've heard from Stephanie Phillips, who's online and implementing Project Success at Monroe High School. The Galaxy Theater is about to reopen, and they will be showing our Under the Influence of You ads at no cost, at least for the next 30 days. So that community norms campaign is up and running. I also partnered with Spotify so that we can get ads running online and targeted to our local demographic. And so still exploring other avenues to help fulfill this requirement of our contract. On a personal note, I wanted to share that our prevention tools guide, what works, what doesn't, was just picked up by 2 additional states. So this is a guide that we developed as the coalition. It's been a personal passion project of mine for years and years, ensuring that workforce across the state is up to date. And so now Pennsylvania and Arizona are publishing our guide, and 1 additional foreign government picked it up, Germany. So the guide is going to be printed in German in some states in that country. So we continue to have influence, not just locally, but really across the world, which is awesome. The last thing I wanted to show you before we move on to you was simply our website. So slowly but surely, the coalition website has been retooled and revamped. Hey, Tom, can you see the website on screen, or is it still the PowerPoint?
The PowerPoint.
Okay, I'm going to stop sharing and reshare just so you see where we are at. The reason why I want to show you is because if you're new, there's some really valuable information on the website. It's looking gorgeous. It's still under construction. What that means is there is some gaps in information that you'll have available to you, but also that we're open to your ideas about what to add. So it's pretty simple. We're making a difference for kids in Monroe. People can learn how to get involved and learn more. They can learn specifically about the coalition and our strategies. Our strategic plan is available for all to see. If you haven't checked out our strategic plan and you're wondering what we're doing and why we're doing it, it is in this behemoth document that we're required to implement every year. If you're wondering about the prevention tools guide I just mentioned, that's there as well. So you can just click on any of the links to see what's going on. Of course, our youth alcohol use rates, attempted suicide rates, and marijuana use rates are at historic lows. We compare favorably to every community in Washington state, and in some cases lead the way. Of course, if you want to provide testimony about what participation in the coalition has meant to you, I'd love to feature that. Some of the training tools and videos that we've developed for regional and statewide use are available on the front page. If you want to learn about our programs and strategies, our media programs, our prevention programs, our suicide prevention programs, everything that we have is right here. You simply just follow the link and it will take you not only to, the program itself, the program page itself, but it will give you information about what it is. If you're interested in the research behind it, because everything we do is evidence-based, you can learn more about that. And I typically have program videos associated with all of our offerings. So we are at monroecommunitycoalition.org, monroecommunitycoalition.org. And that's the extent of the updates I wanted to share with you. But if you're new, reach out to me, check out the website, learn what we're all about and what we're up to. For now, I'm going to actually stop sharing. Any questions about coalition programs? I wanted to speak quickly through them just so that we can get to you. We have so many important partners here. I want this to be about you. Tom, any questions?
Oh, but I have a little information about vaccinations. A few weeks ago, I got at the fairgrounds the first COVID vaccination, and then I've had impossible time scheduling the second one because no place would wanted you for the second one if you didn't get the first one there. And so, and then by Tuesday, I had two options to choose from. So, and I'll show you what happened. Initially, when you called the health district, they said, just show up, they have to serve you. Well, that's not right. And in the meantime, they have put in, this is for people that need the second vaccination, and there's a lot of people that got the first one there without getting that. So it's good information for them because people called this number yesterday and got second vaccination today. So I'll give you the number. This is for the second dose, but I think it's the health district and they may be able to help you with the first two, but it's a 425-239-5278. And if they need that second dose, and make sure that they have they'll say, well, you should get an email. I said, well, I want to double check to make sure you have my email address correctly. So you want to make sure you get that. And within a short time, I had an email address. And then secondly, I explaining it. And then I got a link to go into and pick a time. And it was all second doses today. So they're controlling it now. That's one. The second one, though, where I actually got it yesterday, was PharmaSave. And PharmaSave is doing their own scheduling, just locally. So they're, you call PharmaSave and ask them to email you when they're going to, the next time that they're going to be scheduling. And they've done it for 2 weeks now. And it's usually around noon. This week it was Monday at 12:30 or something. And it was 2 days, Tuesday and Wednesday. And they'll do first or second. And it's a pretty simple form to fill out, but it goes, you got to be in there within an hour. But it's the best and it's local, it was just easy. And I went down there, and when I went to the fairgrounds, I was in line for 2 hours or more. When I went here, I was in line for 15 minutes. So anyway.
Was the PharmaSave form in Spanish too, or any other languages?
I think they are. I think okay. I know that where else in Monroe is giving anyway. You just have to get in there on, you have to get that email, and then that's the sign up. And what they're doing is they're just, the doses they get that week are the doses that are available. And so there's, and they're scheduling. And so the first week they had 1 day, the second week they had 2, and pretty soon they'll have 3 or maybe even 4 and stuff like that. But it was handy, it was easy, and you weren't competing with, I was on a waiting list. I was scheduled. I was trying to get into Seattle U, and it just took the county a little while to get their act together enough to figure out how they were going to do these second doses, because everybody was pretty much required to get it. I also noticed in the paper today that the number of doses per week is now published for 3 weeks. So the state knows what they're getting in the next 3 weeks. And they're divided into first dose and second dose. So it's not first come, first serve necessarily. You know, there's a certain amount that are going to be there for second dose. Anyway, but there's people out here I know still from the fairgrounds that are pretty frustrated that they just haven't been able to sign up for that second dose. So
If anyone got their first dose at the fairgrounds and they need to get a second dose, I have a link that you go register your email, and then you get an email right back.
yeah, that's what I was
If
talking
anyone
about.
needs that link, I'm happy to send it.
Great.
Would you put it in the chat box, Sarah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that might have been what I did, but they sent me and then the second, but the other one is PharmaSafe was, you know, and I just happened to be on my email at the right time, but both times I had multiple choices of times to sign up. And most things you took it. Now that's, any questions on that? I have a new mantra for the year, and most of you will not relate to it until you're older, but some of you will relate to it. It is weird being the same age as old people. That's my mantra for the year. It is weird being the same age as old people. So
well,
it's everybody's, you know, destination. That's where I am now.
Well, I'm going to call on Chief Jolly to share a report from Monroe Police Department. Of course, we're curious about everything you're dealing with and if you have any insight on youth substance use or mental health.
I didn't catch that last part, but thank you. There's nothing really highly unusual that's going on in the community. We're not experiencing specific areas of crime that are increasing or decreasing. I think as people are becoming more apt to be out in public, drive around, go to work, we're seeing just pretty consistent numbers. If anything, it's a few less calls and a few less public contacts. And of course, the thing that hurts us the most that we miss is the community engagement, which this department historically has done exceptionally well. And we miss those contacts. The big thing in law enforcement, on a statewide level at least, is some of the national dialogue has transferred here locally. We've seen some things that, whether they be protests that have got out of hand or the narratives that have gone to the extreme, have transferred to Washington State. Sometimes quite unfairly, down at the legislature, we see 65 bills that are related to police reform. A lot of them seem to be looking for or having solutions to problems that don't necessarily exist, especially out here in our area. The funny thing was, I had spoke about civil dialogue earlier. I was at a speaking engagement via Zoom as it is, and had mentioned that I was against 3 of those 65 reform bills and got a little bit of pushback that I would be against 3 of 65 reforms. So sometimes there is a little strong attitude towards our profession, but the beautiful thing is the men and women here are exceptionally mature and able to step back and realize some of the extreme dialogues on each side and the dynamics, and knows they have a very supportive and caring community who's not judgmental. One of the best outlets and people that we've partnered with is the MIC, the Monroe High School group. Nathan's on this call, and I wish that we all had the ability to continue civil dialogue like these young adults do and be examples of their community, because they've been some of the best partners that we've dealt with through the tough times and pandemic. That's a lot of words to sum up that things are going pretty good. Our city is safe and secure, and we continue doing our job, and just grateful that we have a great community to work with. So thank you. I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any, Joe.
Well, let me open it up to everybody else. I always have questions. Anybody have any questions for the chief about what's happening, what he's seeing? Well, I'm curious, Chief, if there's anything the coalition and its partners can do to support your guys. I'm also curious if you need any support around those reform initiatives or what that might look like.
Well, I certainly would hate to get this body involved in any kind of political dialogue down into the weeds such as that. The reality is the community supports us. What's going to happen in Olympia or Washington, D.C. is going to happen without consideration for what a small town police chief thinks. So we will adjust and live with whatever comes out of some of those things. But no, I wish the reverse was true. I wish there was something we could do to engage our people to helping the coalition. Of course, you know, we're constantly seeking ways to interact with the community with this dynamic in hand. So no, we're good.
Thank you. Thank you. Since we have Cindy Chessie on the line from the food bank, Cindy, would you give us an update? What are you seeing?
So what we are seeing is, well, our numbers are up 25%, but I also know that there is a lot of food in our community. There should not be anybody who's going hungry because it's everywhere. And if there is, somebody should let me know because I have food I could help share too, because there's just a lot. We're currently doing a drive-through distribution. I'm just waiting for the weather to get a little bit better because I really want to go back to our outdoor market. Our customers really miss having customer choice of food, and I really like providing food that way because I know that we currently are giving people food that they don't use. We do get some of it back because they can't self-select. And everybody has different dietary needs or tastes. So I really want to get back to a place where people can select their own food. So we're hoping to do our outdoor farmers market style shopping on April 7th. And we currently have pantries in the school, and I know the Community Schools Foundation has been supporting that, and we've been doing a partnership, but because kids are going back to school, they are going to leave that partnership. I have a meeting with the schools next week because they really want to keep the pantries. So we're working out a way to have folks that will be able to supplement those. And we'll also go back to weekend backpacks at the schools. So we're trying to do both. And so, you know, our numbers fluctuate a little bit because when stimulus checks go out or SNAP benefits change, then folks don't need us as much. But overall, the last year, the trend has been that we've been up 25%. So we are waiting. We're a year delayed because of COVID for the remodel on our building, but we are still pushing forward. So our hope is that we get going on that in the next month or so. So if anybody has any questions, I'm willing to answer.
I have one for you right off the bat, and it's because I've heard so much praise for it. So will you tell us about how the open market model supports communities of color? I've heard that food preferences. Sorry, I'll step back. I think you know where.
No, it's fine. You know what? So our shopping model, when we were indoors, we had specialty shelves for different ethnicities, and I'll be honest, I don't know everything that we should have on the shelf, but I'm open. So if anybody hears anything or knows what we should be distributing, we are very willing to do that. So when we go back to outdoor, market, we will have specialty shelves again. So whatever foods that people like or use in their homes will be able to supply out there. It's really hard to put any of those in boxes right now because we don't know what families like or what they use. So, and then when we expand our building, we will be like a grocery store. We'll have enough room that people can just come in and free shop and then just go out like a grocery store. So I'm really looking forward to that. I hope it's done by the end of summer, first part of fall.
We're just so proud of what you're doing. Any questions for Cindy and the food bank?
Well, Cindy, to speak to the food for, you know, people where you were still gonna kind of collaborate with the Equity Council, right? Like to do some food drives. I don't think they followed up on their end. It's not you, but I know that that's something that you were really looking forward to supporting. So that is when it gets in motion, right?
Yeah. Absolutely, Amber. I'd met with them once, and then, you know, we were kind of at a standstill, and they really didn't have an answer for me because what I told them is that I don't even know every language that our customers speak. So to actually do a survey and ask them what foods they would like to see in the food bank is, I don't even know what to say to them because many of them we don't know what language they speak. And so the Melanie and Vaughn were going to follow up and say, how can we find out what languages people speak so we can do a survey for them? So that's kind of where we're at. And I think that that's what they're looking into. So hopefully we'll get there soon.
I would be the lead, and I haven't really heard back from them either. So, I mean, I talk to them all the time. It's just not something we followed up on. But that's do that because I think I have asked people in the community that who could give that actual information, not me, a white woman, and I know that there's some interest, and so we'll just have to like keep partnering. So,
right, yeah.
Cindy, I have a question for you as far as the school pantries or any other needs. Do you have some needs that we can help with at Cascade or other area organizations for specifics that you'll be needing for those pantries once kids are back in the area or in the schools?
You know what, Kimberly, I'm going to let you know because I'm not sure exactly what the schools want the pantries, if they want to go back to staple food or if they want more grab and go. So let me, after I meet with the school district next week, I'll let you know.
Sounds great. Just let me know. We're happy to help with any kind of drives if that's helpful.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Cindy, Monroe Pizza and Pints was trying to do this, you know, lunch drive for kids, and they didn't really end up getting any kids that came. And I just remembered I was supposed to go pick up all the snack stuff. It's all like kid snack, you know, things that could go in lunches. If you could use that more than we can, I'm happy to bring it to you. Or if you want to get it, I don't know if you could use that for pantries. It's a lot of food.
It's a lot. So as long as it's in date, we can use that for the backpack program and we can send that out in the backpacks, but we don't ever send out of date food to the kid programs. So it has to be in date.
Cool.
Sarah, don't take my breadsticks with cheese because I'm going to go back to this.
Cindy, I have a question as well. Are you open to in-person volunteers at all? In the Just Serve committee, we do some involvement. We have some involvement with the Snohomish Food Bank, and we'd love to be more involved in Monroe as well, if you're open to that.
So Nicole, I am open to that, but right now, because of COVID, we have to limit the number of people in our building. So, and the work is really hard work right now. So people have to be able to lift 40, 50 pounds. Amber knows she lifts those boxes every week and they're 50 pounds. They're, you know, so we need folks that have some strength. And then I said, like, we have to limit the number of people because we can't have clusters. So,
right.
But give me a call or email me and let's see if we can work something out.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
This is how the coalition works. I love you guys so let's go to Lindsay. Lindsay, I know you get pulled in lots of different directions, so I want to give you an opportunity to give us an update right away.
Okay. All right, well, I'll start, let's see, with our Sky Valley Resource Center out in Sultan. So just to give folks kind of our boundaries or our geographical reason, we really focus on East Monroe, all the way actually up to Skycomish. So we have a really big service area, and we work, we partner extensively with Take the Next Step to make sure folks that visit us from Monroe are connected with them, and kind of vice versa. We've been nonstop busy, obviously, since the start of the pandemic at the Resource Center. We are looking at our data and kind of getting ready for the next influx of folks that are really going to be needing help, especially with the moratorium looming coming up. We're seeing about a 30% return rate, if you will, from folks that received assistance from the beginning of the pandemic coming back and needing additional assistance. And so we're working through all those different variables that a lot of these families and individuals are struggling with. I think the first thing that comes to mind, a lot of folks are having to change careers, are having to pick up and having to retrain themselves. And so we're looking at different resources to connect them to. And then to pick yourself up from job loss and loss of hours, especially when you have kiddos, has been really tough on folks. And so we're continuing to see that happen. And thankfully, we're growing our resource center team. Yay. And so hopefully I'm going to be hiring an additional person here too soon, because our support specialist that we currently had in this role, she'll be moving up to become the East County Housing Navigator. So that's another piece that I'm really excited about. We received a contract for East County Navigation Services for coordinated entry. So we get to host the navigator and really kind of just help her improve the process. And we're really excited about this particular contract, because we want to do something different. This, to us, it's going to be a collaborative contract. So it's not just the navigator working by herself to serve East County, which that is Snohomish, Monroe, Sultan, Gold Bar, and Index. And so a key part of navigator success is the folks around them and the agencies that are helping those folks that are in coordinated entry stay stable while they're working with their navigator. So Take the Next Step in our resource center. We see a lot of the folks that are in coordinated entry in East County on a daily basis. And so making sure that we are a key part of the navigational team in ensuring that from entry to exit, we're trying to move those folks into stable housing as fast as possible. That's the whole goal out of coordinated entry. So looking forward to how that collaborative is going to look like. Going to be a lot of meetings with frontline staff. Of course, that's sharing information is a big piece of that. And then just making sure that the navigator is being supported. You know, we're working on a collaborative ROI to share information so we can actively work on solutions for these folks. The city of Monroe is actively going to be at the table, which is another really awesome thing, bringing the embedded social worker to the navigational team along with the police department. And it's just great to have the advocacy of a city involved in this system too. And I think that'll just really set the bar for other cities joining in and really taking ownership of them being a part of the process for the citizens of their cities too.
Hey, Lindsay,
yeah.
Tell us really quickly why this is such a major coup. What is the experience of most users looking for, most clients looking for housing services right now?
Yeah, so what's happened with the system is honestly, there's not enough supply and high demand of housing in general, right? I think we see that. And for these navigators that are assigned cases from coordinated entry, so when folks call into coordinated entry or to 211 to get connected to this housing list, they're assigned a navigator. And historically, navigators have an insane list of folks that are on their list to keep track of. It's just it is what it is. That's kind of just the lack of funding that we have. We don't have a lot of navigators for the amount of folks that need this support. And so that's why it's so important that the resource centers and other agencies are a part of helping the navigator, because it's frustrating for the folks that are sometimes they think they're just a number. They don't think that the navigator is really helping them when they are. They're working really hard, and so they don't really see all that's going on behind them, which leads to frustration, lack of confidence, I think, in the coordinated entry system. And then we've had, just in my experience in working out in East County, we haven't had an agency that has a place in East County to host a navigator. So there's been an agency that's from outside East County bringing in a navigator. And so that doesn't always work. And in my opinion, with us hosting it, we have a lot of buy-in. Our navigator, she is from startup. She loves this community. She loves the Sky Valley, and she is passionate about seeing improvements to this system. She knows that we can make a better avenue for these folks, because she's been on the opposite side too. She's had a negative experience, and she wants to change it. So we're hoping that with more people involved in the team, we can move people, we can find better solutions. We don't have to just all wait for the navigator. We can work on more rapid resolution to creative housing alternatives, right? We can leverage funds maybe to help folks together, get them into a house instead of saying, hey, 300 here, 200 here, can we make it work? There could be more teamwork. So all that to say, I think the user experience will be a lot better, ideally, in theory. We're just getting this off the ground, so we have a little bit of a pilot period. And I'm really confident with the group and the folks that are at this table that we can kind of tweak things as we go and really just turn it into a great system or a better system. So I can ramble on a lot more, but I hope I answered your question, Joe. I don't know.
You did, and I wanted to point out to the coalition why partners like Lindsay and Take the Next Step and others are so important to us is because we know stable families have healthy families, right? Substance abuse hits families when they don't have stability or support. And so it is this village that really empowers the mission of the coalition to reduce substance use in the Valley, especially among youth. I also wanted to go over to Kathy really quickly. Kathy, on the same token, tell us what we're seeing in terms of youth homelessness.
Well, quite a few of you saw the presentation that I put on Tuesday, the small little one. But I'll go over it for the new. We currently have 166 displaced students. The alarming number to me on this is the number of unsheltered. Usually unsheltered is 2-3 per school year. I have 35 currently. And so that's an alarming number just going into this year. And sheltered means cars, trailers, tents, things that we wouldn't consider a place to lay your head down on. Shacks, I have a big group of families living in shacks. And there's no other word to describe it, but that's what it is. Some may or may not have water. Some may or may not have adequate toilet facilities. So yeah, so 71 families are doubled up with each other. I've got 9 currently living in hotels. I have 5 currently in shelters. I have 24 youth that are what we call unaccompanied, which means they're not in the care and custody of their parent or guardian. And with the unaccompanied, at any time during the year, they could be doubled up or in a motel or a shelter because they're always in transition. And then again, the unsheltered number is 35, and then my other category is 22, and that's usually a student placed with a relative. So yeah, and this is only February. So we are on track to probably almost double our numbers from any given year.
And what's about to expire?
The eviction moratorium. So that's my fear coming up because I don't know what that means. I'm hearing a lot of things from my families, a lot of fear. They don't know how they would, even if they go to the mediation that's available, how they would pay the difference in the rent that is owed because that's an agreement to pay back. So they think that they can't pay that, they will be evicted. And then also landlords who cannot pay their own mortgages on those homes are in jeopardy of losing those homes themselves. And so they are now, a lot are starting to sell, which will put our families out in the street, and there are no shelters for them.
So
Doomsday, unfortunately.
one of our guests has to jump off, Amy Hill. If you don't know, Amy's amazing regionally in what she does for youth and families with regard to opioid use. Her husband is also a Monroe School District employee. He's our co-occurring disorders therapist at Monroe High School. Amy, any words before you have to jump off? I'm so sorry we didn't get to you.
No, that's okay. Thanks so much for having me. And I unfortunately have to go. A lot of my day is spent meeting with clients and working with people struggling with opiate use disorder. So that's where I have to go. But I'm looking forward to next month and kind of chatting about what we're seeing, definitely with the pandemic. And the opioid use disorder and the overdoses have increased. It's been a really difficult year. So we're trying to get back on track of doing Narcan trainings. And we had one on Tuesday night that was a virtual one. So we're looking to do more of those. It was a good way to get people to engage and learn about opioid use disorder, in addition to how to use Narcan and how to obtain Narcan, which is the opioid overdose reversal drug. So I think that's kind of it for now, but looking forward to being back next month, unless you have any other quick questions before I go.
I think I'm going to build you up a lot, and we'll just have a huge audience.
Okay. Well, don't get too crazy.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for inviting me. You guys have a great day.
Our other regional substance use partner is on the line, Juliet D'Alessandro. Would you give us an update about what you've been up to? Because all of these issues, food insecurity, housing insecurity, opioid use and overdose, I mean, this is where we're at.
Hi, let's see if I've successfully unmuted myself. And my
We can hear
cat's
you.
sitting on my lap. I want to make sure he's not sitting on my microphone. Let's see. So I work at the health district. I'm a healthy community specialist, and in my current role, I work on 2 projects, and then we have a few other folks who work on other things related to substance use as well. So a small piece of my current role is working on our youth marijuana prevention and education project, which we do in partnership with the other counties in our kind of 5-county North Sound region. So that is mainly right now based on kind of our funding and where my time has been dedicated. Mainly working on planning some social media based outreach. And then I'm hoping in the next few months to at least try to get maybe like a recorded community, or a training of that would be available to community partners. But we're also, I think, finally at the point again where we're maybe able to field some requests for some education opportunities from coalitions or parent groups, schools, others. We have still do have grants to work on tobacco and vapor prevention, although our main person for that, Jennifer Reed, who is wonderful, has been at Department of Emergency Management coordinating PPE distribution for almost a year now. So our capacity there's a little limited, but we're still doing as much as we can around that. And then we have a couple people who, including myself, who do work around opioids. So I coordinate a grant that we have, which is specifically a rural community opioid response grant. So the areas we're working in for that are the Darrington area and then parts of Sky Valley. It's a federal grant, so it's got some really strict criteria around what counts as rural and not rural. So the parts of Sky Valley that are included are the census tract that basically runs like along the south border of the county up to like Route 2 and the river. So anything north of the river and Route 2, like the actual city and town boundaries, are not within the boundaries for this grant. So we're working with our project officers to see if we can get a little flexibility around that. And I have spent a lot of time over the past, well, year, I guess, almost now, in COVID world, but I think I'm keep getting to go back to start working on that project again. So I think I'm finally fully out of COVID world and back working on that. So that grant has some work, or a lot of work, planned around opioid treatment and recovery activities, but there is also a focus on prevention in that. So we're excited to kind of get some of that up and running, doing some, looking at how we can do community-based education and outreach, both to parents, to the community at large, around general substance use prevention topics, and then also more specifics around like drug take back, safe medication storage, even looking at like stigma and education just around opioid use disorder and substance use disorders, and what treatment looks like for those things. So that is work that we're in year one of a 3-year grant. So kind of getting up and running on that. We have a consortium of partners, and Joe is one of our partners there. So wonderful to have him all the time. You're such a wonderful prevention advocate. And then in addition to that, we have a few other grants that allow us to do opioid kind of outreach and education as well. And we have an AmeriCorps Vista member who is focusing on opioid outreach and education. So she's got some community trainings I think she is working on with another Vista member that hopefully, hopefully once she has this up and running, we will be able to share those resources. And then with our other opioid outreach specialist, Kyle, and one of our other team members, and myself, we are working on kind of trying to make a virtual version of some of the outreach that we were doing, I guess now almost over a year ago. We'd started doing kind of a not in my house, parent focused general substance use prevention education night thing that involved kind of setting up a mock teenager bedroom, and we have some kind of cool things about like, things kids can buy on Amazon and hide substances in, but we use that kind of as a way to talk about substance use prevention, what parents can do, what it looks like, what substances are. And I think we'd really just gotten that up and running right when COVID hit last spring. So we are now planning to make it a virtual training opportunity. So I think we'll be doing some recording with iPhones and making our presentation work completely online. But once we have that up and available, we will definitely be sharing that with coalitions as well and other folks in the area if they are interested in using that for parent or community education. I think overall we're all kind of just crawling back out of being mostly involved in COVID efforts and getting back to prevention, which is exciting for me, and I know for others as well, because it's been really cool to be involved in the COVID response, but I love prevention. So I'm happy that we're getting to kind of get those efforts up and running again.
I'm gonna make sure, I wanna make sure we include lots of other voices. So let's hold questions unless there's a burning one right now. Nathan, I'm wondering if you can tell us about what MIC is working on.
Hi, great. I'm sorry for my Wi-Fi earlier. Can you guys hear me now?
We can hear you.
Great, thanks. Okay, sorry about that. So yeah, thank you so much for having me today. I really appreciate being here and talking to all of you. Really means a lot. So current MIC initiatives, we are currently writing a children's book to empower diverse and underrepresented children to see themselves as community leaders. We will be hopefully fundraising soon for the publishing costs and the artist hiring costs. which we have been working in tandem with the Monroe Equity Council to facilitate that. So that is on the way. Currently writing that book. We've been also working with the Monroe Police Department, as Chief Jolly mentioned earlier. We've been putting our focus on building the relationship between the student resource officer and students of color and marginalization. So we're super grateful for our connections there with MPD and Chief Jolly. And then another update is that we did present to the Monroe School Board. That was 1 month ago. The presentation went super well, so a huge thank you to everyone who came and showed their support. In that presentation, we presented our survey on the effects of racism. I think, yeah, we presented the same survey to the Community Coalition as well. So we proposed a 5-part solution plan to the board to combat racism in our schools. And 3 of those parts were to create a resource and assistance platform specialized for students of color and marginalization. So like mental health resources, wellness resources, simple stuff like that. Another one was education on the effects of racism as a disciplinary policy. So restorative solutions to a corrosive problem. And then another one was diversified curriculums, meaning fully and accurately teaching the history of communities of color and marginalization. So we are still unfortunately awaiting a response from the board after that presentation. We wholeheartedly understand that these are very busy times, but it has been a month and we'd really appreciate a response and prioritization of these issues because it's been a month. Another thing that's been going on with the Monroe Inclusion Collective is that our members have been like, I would put it as sponsoring. We've been sponsoring a No Place for Hate organization within the Monroe High School specifically. So we've been working with Miss Garcia, the counselor at the Monroe High School, Miss Tarek, Miss Patzel. They're all super great, really great partners. So we've been working with that. We launched that last week, I believe. Yeah, and I believe that about wraps it up. We've got a few more things on the side, but yeah, that's it for the main part. So thank you for having me here to give you guys updates on the workings of Monroe Inclusion Collective. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Nathan. I see everybody's so inspired. Still going to ask to hold questions for just a second so we can hear from Jen and the YMCA. And then Phil, you're on deck.
Hi, yeah, thank you. Here at the Y, we've been still continuing our virtual learning centers for the youth. So we have 2 sites for the school age kiddos, one at Frylands, which is currently full just about every day, and Chain Lake, which is full one day with our current staff, but we have room at that site to open more as the need grows. I know kids are going back to school half days a little bit, so that may change some of our availability and openings, but we're working with parents on all that. And if we keep growing and need to open Maltby back up, we're looking into that. Our middle school VLC is here at the Y, and it's grown. We've gotten 3 new kids in that one in the last week, so there's still definitely a need in the community and still parents reaching out for support. Some of our kiddos in that are on full scholarships or at least 50% scholarships. So we're here to help. We've got partnerships with Take the Next Step, I know, supporting some of their kids club kids in our programs. Partnerships with the food bank for snacks for the teens. Other things here at the Y, we've got youth sports are back up and running. We've had a couple sessions that were transformed into more clinics due to COVID guidelines, but now we're able to expand those guidelines a little bit since we moved into phase 2. So right now we've got volleyball continuing, and then we're going to be starting flag football soon. And then registration for outdoor soccer will start soon, as well as another season of volleyball. So trying to get more for the youth to do out there. And our swim team just started up again as well. And swim lessons are still popular and a big hit. Our gym is still open and running. We do still have reservations for the pool, that system ongoing. But our gym facility, you don't need reservations anymore just to come in and work out. We just watch capacity as it goes, and it's working out really well. We've got lots of members coming back, which is good to see. People are happy to be back in. Lots of positive feedback from that. And then one more community outreach program, our Showers After Hours program that we currently have been doing on Saturdays is going to be on pause for just a few weeks. As we got some staff transitions happening and just really short staffed right now. So it's on pause for a few weeks, which I know isn't the best for the community, but we are working on hopefully getting it back up and running. We put out that it's on pause till April 1st, but we're hoping it won't be that long. Just trying to work through some staffing situations, but hoping to get more staff on board soon so we can get that back out there.
Thanks, Jen. Phil, tell us what's happening in your world. We're so glad you're here.
Hi, everybody. Well, the library is about to reopen for customers. So that's the big news in my world right now. And what that's going to look like a little bit is about a half-hour visit. We're calling it grab and go, but in our building, it's going to be open. So our building is going to be all accessible to customers. So they'll be able to come in. There'll be 5 computers available for use for 30 minutes, socially distanced, of course. We'll have some limited customer service, trying to keep as few people actually on the service floor as possible. But we'll have staff around to help people if they need. We're not going to really be able to do too much computer help, but I'm sure all of you know that I'll be doing my best to help our customers with whatever they need. They'll be able to print, they'll be able to sort of get back to a little bit of what they used to do in the library. So if they need to come in and sit down for half an hour and stay warm, that's going to be available. Our bathrooms are going to be open, so that's going to be available. I'm not ready to announce a date, but you can just know it's too soon for me right now. So you can just assume you're going to hear that it's going to be pretty soon. So that's all happening, and it's pretty exciting. We're really excited to be back serving our customers. We miss seeing them. We miss being able to serve them directly and just talk to people. It's going to be hard because, again, we're still doing this in a very contact-free way, but that's.
Phil, I've been missing that back corner with the magazines and newspapers. So
yeah, Tom, I'm sorry, that's long gone. So you won't get back to that either. Magazines and newspapers are not going to re-enter our worlds for a little while, unfortunately.
Well, are the comfortable chairs back there for meditation?
Well, you'll find that a lot of our furniture is also removed at this point. So we are really set up for very limited services. We really have taken a lot of the furniture out. All the kids' play area is gone. It's quite sad to see, but you'd really see the bones of this beautiful building, which I hope is a positive. We're still doing all our contact-free services, like I said, so people can continue to pick up hold, place all their holds and pick them up, get their printing in that safe way if they want to, continue to do all of that, enjoy all our online services. As far as the food goes, I just have to give kudos to Cindy, but she's exactly right. We're so blessed in this community. We have so much food around. And, at the library, we've been doing through this whole COVID, we've had hot lunches in our parking lot, which are going to continue. We have our food share that drops off boxes to about 40 families right now every Tuesday morning. And we just set up our first little free pantry outside the front of the library. And it's not that little, actually. It's a big closet that's chock full of food and camping supplies, feminine products, anything that you could think of that a family could need. So, make sure families know that when everything else is closed in Monroe, if they have a need, that pantry is open. So they can come by the library and they can access that pantry. Because, that's the thing. How many hours can Cindy stay open? How many hours can our other places be open? But that little pantry will be accessible all hours, right? So we're just doing our best here at the library. We're excited to see people. Just a few other little couple things. The library's been donating thousands of books into the community this year. We always kind of do that, but because we're checking out so few books, we really upped that this year in the COVID. We've given a bunch to take the next step. We've given a ton to the school foundation. The school libraries have picked up thousands of books, and we just gave a whole pile of them to the Y programs that they're doing that Jen was mentioning. Anyone else that is interested in some books, please let me know. Lindsay, I got my eye on you in your ECAP, so that's where I'm going next, just so you know. But this is just something that everybody needs to know about. That just contact me. One last little thing is, one of my county connections, Vanessa Gutierrez, sent me an email that the county council is starting a youth committee. This is a committee that the county council is starting to try to get a group of young people to advise them on what's going on in our town, our county, right? I actually sent that to the MIC, to Nathan and Zoe and Kelsey, so they can, I love those guys, so I hope they apply. But we have a lot of youth in our county. It's 16 to 20. If you know anybody who might be excited, this is a great opportunity to work at the government level. So Stephanie, if you know anybody at the high school that might be interested in this, or anybody else on this call that knows a young person, it might be a great, like Sarah, I'm thinking maybe there's somebody, one of our leaders might be good. So anybody, just email me. Nicole, I'm looking at you for maybe one of your kids even to think about. This is a really cool opportunity. They're starting this with just a steering committee. So just email me and I'll send you all this information. That's all I got, Joe. Thanks for putting this meeting together.
No, thank you. Hey, Sarah, would you mind giving us an update on what's happening in your world?
My dog keeps barking, so I'm hoping he's gonna.
I needed to know
that. I have a lot to say. I'm gonna say it quickly. Kathy, I sent you a direct message, but I don't know if you saw it. Your report has my heart really heavy, and I want to talk to Laren, and I want to make sure we can help those families. Okay, so let's work closely together if we can. Last year, we gave over $210,000 to local families to just keep them in their homes and with heat and lights on. We didn't have funding like that lined up for 2021, and we were nervous, and we hit our largest fundraising goal ever in 15 years, $50,000 during a pandemic. And so 100% of those funds are going right to paying families' bills. And this year, we really want to focus on helping families be sustainable and thrive. And so, we don't want to just pay a bill and that's it, you know? And so we want to make sure that we're getting families signed up for every resource that they can, and that they're becoming advocates for themselves. And so that's really a goal for us this year. We are working with the Boys and Girls Club and the Y and Miracles and Memories Academy to help families access those services. We do have funding right now for basic needs, that $50,000 plus another $20,000. So if you have families struggling, contact us. Rental assistance, we do have some FEMA rental assistance right now. We're still doing homeless outreach 3 times a week with food bags and getting them connected to resources. Sadly, we recently lost 2 of our homeless friends to addiction, and it's tough. We knew those people were more than their addictions, and we wanted to see them on the other side of it. And so we're still working hard. We won't keep fighting. Growing Together, our Teen Mom program, we're doing activity bags monthly. We're still meeting with them via Zoom and doing a lot of one-on-one meetings with them. We have a lot of our teen moms are really, really struggling right now. Our kids club is on hold. We can't do it right now. It's the biggest bummer. And so we're doing our Spanish speaking navigators, Jessica and Veronica, are in contact with those families weekly, all of them, to check in with them and see how they're doing, what they need. And we're also doing activity bags for them, which is a pretty big undertaking for about 60 kids. we're doing a mass distribution event on the 25th. It'll be 5 to 7 p.m. at Next Step, or pardon me, we're going to do it at the Covenant Church next door. So if you know families that are having trouble accessing masks for any reason, teachers who need to get a stash for in-person learning coming up, whatever the reason, we've got a ton of masks, kid sizes, adult sizes. If you can't make it to the event, hit me up and I'll make sure we get you some masks. Lastly, we have a really exciting program that we want to start up. We're just in the very beginning phases of it, but it's called Promotoras. And we want to train about 20 local Spanish speaking, maybe moms that will be advocates for other Spanish speaking individuals in our community. We're always really looking for other ways that we can support our Latino population here in Monroe. And so we're going to be doing training that will help them communicate with the schools and the school district and understand how that works and what their rights are, what they're entitled to, how local city government works, leadership training. And so in turn, these advocates will help, other families learn to advocate for themselves. They'll be compensated, of course, and I think that there will be some trust built in because they'll be coming from our community. And if we have about 20, hopefully it'll always kind of be like, at least someone that knows that person. And there's a lot of relationship and trust building with this community that needs to happen to support them. And so we're excited about this model and hope to get it going soon. We also recently hired our second Spanish speaking navigator, Veronica Vasquez. And it's exciting because she's a kids club mom, and she's going to be a student support advocate working with Frank Wagner closely. It's been kind of weird because they're not in person right now. And so we're looking forward to get that going. I think that's what I've got. Thank you.
Mr. Bloss, can we hear from you? We're going to push this right to the very end because I still want to hear from Rachel too if we have time. Sorry, Rachel and Jim.
It's okay. I only need just a couple of minutes here. As it turns out, next week is NAMI week down in Olympia. Both Amber and I are going to be chatting with our legislators down there. Next month, we'll give you a report if we get time to, or if you give us time to report out on what happened with behavioral health issues and the budget and stuff and what have you. This year, we're looking at trying to get a statewide behavioral health ombudsperson office in place. It's a big deal, and it's looking good. The 988 suicide and behavioral health and mental health number it was implemented in the other Washington. And this year we're pushing for monies and programs and so on to support that implementation in Washington state. Looking to maintain or increase the state's budget for behavioral health. And we're continuing efforts at the decriminalization of behavioral illness. So mostly the 39th legislative district, which is where we are, and we'll be checking in with those folks, but we're also, if you're all involved in either the 1st, the 21st, the 32nd, 38th, or 44th legislative districts, and you got anything you want Amber and I to, push our legislators around about, why you just contact us and we'll put it on our list of things to do. Amber, anything to add to that?
No, but I found that this week we've had that training in prep and it's been very helpful. It does connect to my job because I think we need to advocate when that comes around to it for more mental health services for school, because we do know that half of students, youth, have their first mental health crisis at around 14 and usually are diagnosed with something by that age. So it's really, really important. And so thank you so much for, being that person and including.
So I think that's our report, Joe.
Thanks, Jim and Amber. We'll make sure that you're front loaded on the next meeting because I'm intensely interested in what you're doing. It's the biggest need that we're seeing right now in schools. So I want to make sure you and Stephanie and Amber have an opportunity to talk about what you're seeing. Rachel, will you close us out here? What's going on?
Thanks, Joe. Well, let's see. I'm going to go ahead and drop my contact information in the chat box. And then also I'm going to drop a link to the annual 2020 Human Services report that I just was able to present to the city council and the mayor. And I think I'll take this opportunity to just extend their appreciation and thanks for everything that you guys are doing in the community. I felt so much that this report was a team effort of so many great people coming together and being able to report out on some of the work that they were doing and some of the journey that we've all been on, from work that has surrounded specifically homelessness to work that now is incorporating those who are living in poverty, those who are in marginalized communities, those who are affected by crisis. And I'm just really grateful to be a part of that work and that journey. Some of the highlights from the report have to do with COVID 2020, and the response that was done by our service providers was amazing. We had our TAC meetings that were designed to do implementation for the HPAC recommendations were put on hold. They became service provider check-ins, similar to what we're doing now. And in most of my service provider human services calls around the county, that was a source of admiration and praise for our ability to quickly respond and communicate and be able to just stay connected through the pandemic. Some of the other highlights were, I saw Laren left, but that Take the Next Step with the CARES funds was able to, through their rental assistance program, keep 35 families in their homes, and that amounts to 116 individuals. We're just so proud to be a part of that effort. The capacity and relationship building we did this year was amazing. Capacity building in VOA was able to step up and step into being lead agency for the Sky Valley Cold Weather Shelter, which is popping this week. We are going to be open every night, I think. And then I think, what was it, Lindsay, yesterday or the day before, we got Lindsay was reached out to, and Brad gave me a heads up that that Friday and Saturday it's not going to be any higher than 34 degrees. So Lindsay was able to, with big kudos to Roger, get a warming center going from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. At New Hope Fellowship Church in Monroe. They'll be offering services. The new navigator will have a presence there. I am just thrilled that that's happening, and just seeing all of these partnerships coming together and working some real magic and being able to respond swiftly and quickly. I think that the majority of what I needed to say about the 211 system, definitely Lindsay already got to. That is exciting to see her work doing collaborative ROIs, and she recently reached out to the Built for Zero and Community Solutions group, and hoping to get a meeting with them. Joe, I'm going to try and loop you into that for some data-based solutions and community programming. So I'm really excited to see that. The CHSAB came out in 2020. We've got some CHSAB members here who we've been putting right to work. They have reviewed the legislative priorities for 2021 and the temporary encampment code. Right now, we are in the middle of reviewing the HPAC recommendations in the housing category. And we'll be having a deep dive discussion on Thursday, the 18th. Those meetings are open, and I would love for anybody to come and give public comment if you would like. They're a really great group, very very inquisitive and have great questions of our speakers. We had an amazing speaker this last week from the Block Project that was just truly inspiring in the way that he was able to speak about community solutions and taking NIMBYism and flipping it on its head and actually saying yes in my backyard. And I was just so excited to hear that. So big plug for the Block Project. And then the work of the embedded social worker with Monroe Police Department. We have a new embedded social worker with the Defense, the Office of the Defense. And it's been a pleasure getting to know her. The community outreach team with Monroe Police Department has done a fantastic job recently. Sergeant Ryan sent over some numbers for me. And from that tip of the iceberg and the people that they're reaching out to, it looks like right around 40 people have moved on to either treatment or to stable housing or to, you know, other places. And it's just really exciting to see that those changes happening as a result of their efforts. When I think of a social justice warrior, I think of Paul Ryan, because he is just continually knocking on that door with patience, and just, he's an amazing guy. And I am just so proud to be a partner with him. In prevention, we released the We Are Monroe campaign, which has been really exciting. I encourage all of you, if you are Monroe residents or have an active presence in Monroe, please, we are submitting short stories right now for the We Are Monroe page. It's designed to model after the Humans of New York. And you don't have to tell your life story, but it's like questions that are answers to things like, what surprised you about living in Monroe? What is the story of your name? What is your favorite comfort food and why? Mine was, that I recently submitted, was, what was your most epic cooking fail? And I think it was pretty tragically hysterical. So, so if you are a Monroe resident, I would love for you to help me in this campaign. It's designed to elevate commonalities, and I think that's what we're really hoping to do, and then introduce some of the harder stories about that we can all relate to too. So lots of amazing work is being done in this community, and I'm just so proud to be a part of it. And I just thank you, Joe, for giving me some time. And with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Well, Rachel, I'm putting you on notice that we're probably going to circle back to that next month. So I'll reach out to you.
Perfect.
I want to honor everybody's time here and just give Tom a chance to give us a word of wisdom before we sign off.
I just want to say thank you to Joe for pulling together just a great meeting and bringing all these resources together. And it's just so inspiring to see just the wonderful work that is going on and the teamwork. So thank you, everyone. And we look forward to seeing all of you back next month. Thank you.
Hey, everybody have a great day. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Bye.